distance,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you can't see it.
Can't see it, but maybe we can flip it around. If we flip this around, you can sort of, there's our view, and you can see the bird poo on, we like to have birds sitting on our veranda and they like to poop on the veranda. So back around here, there's Jane. We thought we would have a cuppa, a chat about our new single and share some of the best, worst camping disaster stories that people have sent us for the storytelling competition. But first we'll sing our new single, shall we? A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. We were tired of camping in a swag, waking on a concrete floor. Time for a change, we decided. Let's see what we can afford. I was studying alternatives till I was dizzy in the head. When an online ad caught my eye, and this is what it said. Well, you can wind her up and you can wind her down. She got 2 big wheels to keep you off the ground. A vanity and a big space in the middle to hold the family at home. It's a lucky day, haul a dream away. She's a Millard Pop-Top 74. We bought a cheap sight unseen. That might have been a mistake. She was a bit of a fixer-upper, but a little love was all that it would take. And so began a journey through a never-evolving door. As nobody came in, it soon went crack on a Pop-Top 74. First the telescopes went down, but only one at a time. 'Cause the cables kept getting tangled up in a way only the devil could design. So we exercised our credit card till it was bruised and sore. And once again she was working just like back in 74. You could wind her up and you could wind her down. She got 2 good wheels to keep you off the ground. A vanity and a big space in the middle to hold the family at home. It's a lucky day, haul a dream away. She's a Millard Pop-Top 74. She's a Millard Pop-Top 74.
Then she tried to kill me.
This is true.
She pulled my car back down a hill. I fell underneath the wheels. How I'm a living is a miracle still. The insurance company laughed at me. We paid up finally. $800 excess, and she was as right as she would ever be. But then the roof sprang a leak. We couldn't tell just when. We filled buckets every time it rained. It was a sad and a sorry affair. Once I rebuilt the whole damn thing, along with most of the floor. And the very next
torture through an RV.
Well, yeah, I guess you could call it an RV. 11 years.
It wasn't much recreation around that vehicle, I have to tell
11
you.
years we owned the Millard Pop-Top 74, and it presented us with many, many challenges. And if Jay had had any hair at the start of that journey, he would have ripped it all out.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe we should start telling people that you did have hair when we
No,
first
no,
owned
no, we
it, and
can't
then
do
you
that.
did rip it all out.
I've had many more
That's-
challenges than that. But
Anyway, welcome
causes me
to
lose
our
my hair.
veranda for a cuppa with Cath. It's nice to see there's a few people who've joined in, because this was completely unplanned. We just decided to do it.
But we did it just at the last minute for some unknown reason. I think because we'd had we put out the word that if people had their own camping stories or camping disaster stories, then
Camping
they
disasters.
They should let us know, and we would collect them up, and then we're running a little bit of a competition which says that, you know, whichever one we think is the best then gets a copy of the CD, the limited edition CD.
Oh yeah,
with
we
the
should have a
songs on.
copy of it with us.
We should have a copy somewhere, but as we
We
say,
know we should have it with us
it
now.
was it was a very
We do
impromptu
have
thing.
we do have the poster that we took to Tamworth.
Yeah.
So you can see the front cover of the CD, and Jay's wearing the t-shirt as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what the front cover looks like, and this was drawn by Mackie Ferguson, who we commissioned to draw this version, this caricature version of the camper, the Millard Pop-Top 74, because we don't have it anymore. It got sold, and
After I'd fixed it.
after he'd fixed it, spent 11 years fixing it. So yeah, that's sort of a caricature version of the old camper. We have an upgrade model now. We've got a 2007 Jayco
Yeah.
Flamingo.
Which amazingly has similar problems. It's just that it's newer, so that actually they don't have. It's not got quite so many problems inherently, because I guess back in 1974, it was at the beginning of the design phase of those kind of campers. Millard weren't the first people to do it. An American company was the first to start doing wind-up pop-top campers. But Millard, a family, decided that they would start. They were tired of camping on the ground, I guess, the same as we were when we decided that we ought to look for an alternative way of sleeping and living when we were on camp. And it's an interesting thing because not only because Millard's did really well. They started off, I think they ended up doing like 100 units in the first year that they were in business, and then that sort of went up to 400 or 500 the next year. And by the time they'd been in business for about 5 or 10 years, they were doing 1,700 to 2,000 units a year. But then, of course, petrol prices went up, and people and the world recession hit, and I think that took its toll on them. And in the end, I think the family sold the business for the parts to a company called Viscount, and Viscount took
They're
over.
also very well known.
Very well known in
caravans
Australia, and still producing. I mean, Millard is still producing caravans, but I suspect it's not the original family. I think it's been sold on a couple of
Sold
times
on a few
since then.
times.
But look, the whole thing was that it was in it. I think the design of the lifting gear was in its infancy, but in actual fact, when I opened my Jayco Pop-Top caravan here, and something goes wrong with it, I look inside, and the very same lifting gear is in place. The same system is in place, prone to the same problems. And in fact, just the last time we put it up at Tamworth, one of the corners refused to go up, and so I managed, with the help of a kindly neighbour, camping neighbour, to prop it up. And then I spent half a morning just getting into it, and but of course nothing daunts me with them now, because I had spent so much time on my knees sweating in dark corners of the camper to try and fix the problems that it had.
And redesigned, like you ended up I would venture to say that you, Jay, are now Australia's foremost expert, amateur, let's say, amateur expert on the wind-up caravan roof lifting system, because you have redesigned that
Poor
old one
Cath,
a few times.
when the telescope wouldn't go down, she go up.
I was re-triggered. I was triggered with my trauma.
Freaked out a little bit, and I
happening
said, "Don't worry,
before.
darling, I can do this. I can do this," and I could do that with confidence because I'd done it so often, so many times. Of course, the Millards had been out of production for a very long time. So in fact, the telescopes that were on the thing weren't the originals, and of course they didn't fit properly. And even if they did fit properly, they weren't quite right, and there was always something wrong with them. So I replaced all the telescopes. I replaced nearly all of the push springs.
And the cables, all the
I
wire
redid
cables
the cabling
that go through the pulley system.
and and the slides that the cables go through and the springs go through. I replaced about 3 out of 4 of those on the Millard. That's not to say that it's a bad design. It's just that it has its problems, and they've not managed to fix them even now, modern day times. But I have an idea about how I'm going to fix ours, so that I won't share that with
So
anybody.
the journey goes on with
it might not
the
work.
Jayco Flamingo 2007.
And it's beautiful. It's
But
stunning.
I wanted to welcome the people
Sure.
on who are
Welcome them.
watching. I think I'm not sure how many are now still here after all of that. Did you want to talk about Millard Pop-Tops really? But we did have Neil Strode. If you're still there, Neil, give us a wave or pop us a comment. And Sylvia and Graham, hello. Sylvia and Graham Underwood. Peter Forday, hello. And Joe Boyle, you were the first one to come in.
Fantastic.
So I
yes,
do have a copy of the CD with us now. It's Mucky's lovely artwork. On the inside, she's drawn a picture of our old Camry, which was the first vehicle. We still got this vehicle. It's 22 years old, but it really wasn't well equipped for towing. But we did use it for many years to tow the old camper.
It wasn't too heavy.
And there's a lovely emu chasing us down the road. That's based on a story from when Jay first came to Australia and he was on the Nullarbor plane. But we'll tell that one maybe another time. And then there's the infamous Kookaburra. I'm
laughing at all of our efforts.
our tribulations and trials. And on the back there's another little drawing by Mucky, which is the original caricature she did of us about 4 years ago as a gift for Christmas, and that's what inspired me to commission her to do this lovely drawing and this drawing on the inside here, which we also adore. Thank you, Mucky Ferguson. All right, so the reason we're here is to talk about the storytelling competition.
That's right. So we put it out there, and people have very kindly sent in their stories, and some of them are hilarious, some of them are just kind of factual, and so some are better than others. But at the same time, I think that we've hit a vein, because I think that just about everybody in Australia, most families do go camping, and most of them do have a disaster story to tell one way or another. So I mean, we probably could go on for a complete year with all the things, but we've got half a dozen or a little bit more to be able to share with you.
What happens though when we perform this song? We performed it at a number of places now, including Woodford Folk Festival and Tamworth Country Music Festival, and everywhere we perform it, the audience comes up to us at the end. Everyone's singing along by the end. They're all singing along with us, and they come up to us afterwards and they tell us their camping story. So
we need a recorder to be able to record their story.
That's right. So this is where we got the idea of having a storytelling competition, and the prize will be, we will mail you one of the CDs, the Millard Pop-Top 74 CD, which has 7 tracks on it, half an hour of music. So yeah, we thought, let's get people to send their stories into us. We have 8 fantastic stories that we've already been sent.
We'll only share a couple of them with you today. So,
but we'll do another Cuppa with Cath and Jay on the veranda another day, and we'll read a couple more stories then. So where did they go? No, I've lost them. There it is. There we go.
There you go.
All right, so we're going to share a story from Cath first. Jay, do you want to read it up?
Sure. This one says, not a complete disaster, but a lesson on setting up. We were on a weekend stay and looked at the weather, which said it was going to rain. We don't mind camping in the rain. I do. But anyway, and actually, we get the best sleep when it does. We managed to get the camper set up and enjoyed the afternoon and went to bed. Woke up in the morning to an annex, ankle deep in water. We apparently had created a mini swimming pool. In our haste to set up, we had not realised that one of the annex poles had come off, and that has created a gutter for the water from the roof to come pouring into the space. Wet towels and shoes, but still a good time away. That's the predominant thing, isn't it? It's like even,
Rain.
But even so, you know,
Rain and water.
the
flow.
disasters actually don't really seem to put people off. They still go camping, and somehow or other it just sort of adds to the adventure. I mean,
It puts
quite
some
often
people off.
we've been
Some people just go, nah, their first time they have a
that's it,
camping
yeah.
disaster, they go, nah,
not
that's
doing
it,
that again.
never doing it again.
Yeah. Well, I guess we
us.
probably don't learn because we had any number of disasters, but there were disasters that happened to us before we had the camper, because we were in a tent then, and my goodness gracious, we had some.
Well, that's why we wanted to get a camper,
That's
was
right.
because there's disasters with the tent
With the
and
tent.
rain. So, Kat, we completely relate to
to
your
that.
story about getting your annex filling up like a swimming pool, because we've had our rain camping stories as well. One was when we were in a tent and Joshua was about 3. Josh is our son, for those who don't know. He was 3 and I had him like tucked up under my arm. We were fast asleep. I was in the depths of a deep dream, and all of a sudden I could feel this weight of a ton of water on top of my face. I was like, oh my, what is happening? I'm going to drown. I'm drowning. This is it. I thought, this is it. I'm going to die. Because I could feel that it was water.
Yeah.
And it was really heavy. And it was on top of my face. I didn't
So-
really realise it was
So
on the
I
other
got
side
up.
of the tent.
I got up and I got outside, and I was the
No,
one
you,
who
before you did that, he lifted the tent and the
True.
weight of the water. He got up, and because it wasn't on your face, it was on mine. It had collapsed over the top of me and Josh. He was like a hero. He was like he was in a Marvel comic. He went, whoa!
Big John.
And he pushed the tarp and the tent.
Now there's only one
off
left down there to save. Big John.
And I was like, what's happening? I was like, I had totally no idea what was really going on. But what had happened was that the
Similar thing, really.
we had a tarp set up over the tent, and it was the first time we'd ever set up a tarp. Well, let's say Jay had set it up because I was looking after a toddler and I really couldn't help much. So it was Jay who'd set it up, and being his first time he'd done this big tarp, he hadn't realised how
That
to make
any
sure that
kind
the
of-
water doesn't pool.
Yeah.
And
Any
so the
kind of
water had
opportunity
pooled.
the water would
Big
have to
storm.
pull, it would, and I didn't realise that. But anyway, I fixed it that night, and that was a good lesson. Everything is education costs, apparently. So, that was a big lesson to learn from that. All right, do you want to read the next one?
So shall we do the next one? Oh,
Yeah.
first of all, there's a question from Joe. Joe says, it's beautiful. I hope you are well. Happy New Year in 2025. Enjoy your beautiful songs that you are going to do. Thank you very
Thank you
much,
so
Joe.
much, Joe.
And Happy New Year to you. Happy 2025. Let's hope it's a really great one for you all.
So we've actually had a music consultant help us, Francesca, who is just fantastic, and she's been able to help us get a plan up as to how we're going to release our songs digitally this year, and how we're going to do promotional exercises to make sure that people actually hear them. Because mostly, unless you do something fairly serious, because the media is so crowded these days, usually songs just disappear into the ether. So we're going to be doing a fair bit of promotion one way and another for all of the singles that get released from this
Yes,
CD.
and we would love you to be part of that. Help us to build our digital audience. So you can help by playing the Millard Pop-Top single and sharing it with a friend. So the link to where we've released that single online is just under this video, so you can find it there.
Yeah.
Play it on your own platforms and then share it with your friends and family. That
Yeah.
will help us immensely.
That'll help us.
Now, next story.
Next story.
Next camping disaster story. This one comes from Cara.
And this one is a bit more of a disaster.
It really is.
Okay, shall I read it?
Yeah, you
I
read
enjoy
it.
reading.
Yeah, you're good at reading.
When we went to a vegan camp out near Sydney, these guys are vegans. We went to a vegan camp out near Sydney. First, the GPS took us through the long, windy mountain range and very rough roads, towing our old caravan. We checked the caravan at one point, and to our horror, the fridge door was on the floor, and stuff was everywhere, and drinks had exploded.
Oh.
Then we eventually got to the camp out and found that we had to go down a very steep hill into the valley. It had been raining, and raining, and it was slippery. I
Right.
was scared we'd go over the edge. So the 3 days we were there, the rain didn't stop. There was horse poo everywhere. And while we were on the subject of poo, the portable loo people hadn't put in enough water for flushing. So it built up pretty quickly, and they couldn't come out until the next day. Well, there was a lot of people, so I'll leave the rest to your imagination.
And then she's put a poo emoji.
Yeah, which I didn't know you could get, but that's very
Yes.
creative.
Shit.
Other than that, we did meet some really lovely people, and everyone kept their spirits up, which is what I was saying, isn't it? It's like you had these disasters, but somehow the human spirit is just such a blithe thing.
It's character building
Character building, yeah.
and bonding. You know,
Yeah.
if there's a group of you, you certainly bond through the
Adversity. Yeah, definitely. And there's nothing like sharing a loo that doesn't flush
So
to
this
get you bonded.
this story's got everything. It's got the fridge that emptied all the food and exploded all the drinks everywhere. It's got the slippery road up a windy hill, towing a caravan, everything falling out of the fridge, going everywhere. It's got the rain. Rain features largely in all these camping disaster stories, it seems. And it's got poo. It's got poo. The
Yeah.
portaloo that didn't flush, and there was a whole heap of people there. And they couldn't change it to the next day. So thank you, Cara. We just love that story.
We love that story because it resonates quite strongly with us from the time that we decided we would go over to Gari, the former Fraser Island, and go on a camping holiday over there. And it's pretty rough terrain, and we got an off-road camper, but I don't think it was quite off-road enough.
No, we will never, ever tow our camper on Gari again.
Never.
It was awful. We
It was awful.
had
And
several
expensive.
we had several drawers that just came out, even though they had the little popper thing in that's supposed to keep them in. The drawers had come out and they had smashed themselves to bits. They'd come apart. And so all the cutlery that were in the drawers and all the other little bits and pieces in the drawers were just everywhere, strewn everywhere.
All in amongst a beautiful sludge
There was a sludge on the floor.
which comprised, let's see,
It
there was...
had a smell. We didn't know what it was to start with. It wasn't until we opened
And there was
the
a sort of a
pantry.
fine dust
Yes,
suspended
fine
in the
dust. So we were like, what is that? When we finally had gotten through all of the other stuff that was in the way of the pantry door, we got to the pantry door, we opened it up, and it was this absolute sludge like this thick, because all of the food that was in there had exploded, and anything that hadn't exploded was covered in
It was
the
covered in
sludge.
whatever had
So
exploded.
go
yeah.
on and explain what the mixture was in
Well,
our pantry.
the fine dust
of
that seemed to be
exploded.
everywhere was cocoa powder. That was mixed together with olive oil, balsamic vinegar, some
Carton of long life milk,
carton of long life milk that went there everywhere.
2 jars of salsa sauce
Yes,
for
that's
making
right. That's right.
nachos.
Yeah, and everything. So actually, the stuff in the fridge didn't do too badly because the fridge didn't.
The
come
fridge was
over.
all right. It was the
Fridge
pantry.
came- But the pantry, and there were tins that had clashed
Tins.
together. They didn't bear any resemblance to
They
a
looked
tin.
like they'd been through
But
the
they hadn't,
apocalypse.
they hadn't exploded, but they were like just kind of like they were
Mangled.
that, tins are like that. These ones were like that, where they clashed together, and of course there was smashed glass absolutely everywhere,
Smashed
fluids
glass.
everywhere. So
Oil, water, chocolate,
so the
salsa, milk.
first-
Oh, and 2 boxes of muesli.
oh, that's right, yeah. That was the thickener that we got. Anyway, so I stayed outside in the rain because it was raining, as it sometimes is.
Rain.
And Cath was the inside person, I was the outside
And we
person.
had to clean and wash everything, including all. We have these coffee bags, and they're sealed. Like
that's right, they're
each
sealed
bag
coffee
is
bags.
sealed.
They hadn't
and
burst.
They hadn't burst.
And they were covered in
but
sludge.
They were covered in this sludgy mixture, and so I washed every single little coffee bag and laid them out to dry.
and handed all the bigger stuff out to me, and I put a hose on a
And the
tap.
smell was
and I was
horrible.
washing
The
everything.
smell, and I was like dragging out the sludge with my fingers, like,
Yeah.
and then going, oh, there's glass in
There's
there,
glass,
because I
gotta be
didn't
careful.
realise what had broken.
But we've
to
got,
start with.
being intrepid campers, we've not only taken all the toolkit with us, which I never go anywhere without a toolkit, and in the toolkit there was some super glue. So I managed to reconstruct the drawers and super glued them together in a way, I have to say, that they hadn't been glued together when they were first constructed. So I think that's a little bit down to Jayco not designing their off-road stuff quite so ruggedly as they possibly could. But anyway,
So they're better done now.
They're better
But
done
that
now.
was not what we wanted to be doing on our holiday. We ended up really not enjoying Gurry at all.
2.5 hours of
Not that
slogging,
part of it.
and then we woke up the next day and it was
4 and a
absolutely pouring.
It was
Oh,
4
was it 4?
hours. We were so tired we didn't eat dinner.
Oh, that's true.
We were so tired
Just
of
fell asleep.
pantry cleaning and cleaning everything
Yeah, yeah.
and refixing everything.
So
yeah.
it rained,
so that
it rained the whole of the next day, and then we just went, no, this is not happening. So we decided that we would go back early in the morning.
Look who's watching, Danny. Hello,
Hey.
Danny.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, Danny. We're sharing stories of camping disasters because we're running a camping disaster story competition, and the prize is a copy of our new CD. But yeah, even if you don't want to be in the competition, we would love you to share a story with us. So
If you feel like sharing a
type it in the
disaster story,
comments, or you can send a message to us directly, and we will put you in the running. And we'll be reading out a story from people every few days.
every few days, we feel that having gone through the disasters that we did for 11 years with our camper, we feel that we are the expert judging panel.
Yes, we are.
So we ought to be able to judge which is the well, either
Hi,
the
Vicky.
worst or the best or the funniest or whatever disaster story. So if you want to send them in, please do. And
Send us your disaster story, your best, worst camping disaster story. Type it up to us in the comments or send it via direct message, and we will read it with delight, and we'll share it on our live stream. We can not share your name if you don't want your name attached to it. We'll share it on our next live stream, Cuppa with Cath and Joe.
Couple with Cath and Jay.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. Have a lovely
And
Sunday
yeah,
afternoon.
don't forget to stream the single Millard Pop-Top 74 and share it with a friend. The link's in the description below.
That's it. See ya.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.